So good morning. We must have a few folks at the beach or something. Come on in. Come on in. Yeah, nice. So do you feel like there's this sweet, gentle energy in here right now? And I'm just going to call it and claim it that we had a house full of goddesses yesterday from 10 to 3, and we did a little work on ourselves, a little work understanding the divine feminine, where she got lost in history. Some of those people came out and said she was a witch when she was a healer. So we are walking in and through and beyond the mythos of the divine feminine. And then with Terrence in here this morning, and he said, I'm just a little under the weather, so I felt a real gentle tone in his song. So y'all just hold him in your heart, see him warm, vital, alive, that his message comes through his song and through his verses. And then just to know that we claim this to be a sacred, holy sanctuary, that each and every person present, this is absolutely your home, your family. We claim it and call it to be a place of acceptance, a place of gratitude. For when things don't feel like they're working in our life, when we forget the abundance of the universe, and sometimes we look out there and we say, there's not enough. That's a false belief. There is plenty and more. Plenty and more, and we are able to access it when we clear away all those obstacles. And today I'm bringing in Excuses Be Gone by Wayne Dyer, and he says, that's enough of that. Get on task, get on track. We're going to talk about some excuses that all of us come up with, and then we're going to talk about some universal principles. And when I was doing it and catching up this morning and refreshing what I had written, all of a sudden Louise Hay dropped in. I thought, wow, let's do this master teacher, Wayne Dyer, and truth is truth. So we're going to bring in the feminine with the masculine, and we're going to do a little Louise Hay as well. So right now, I'm just going to invite you to close those outer eyes and take a nice breath in. We're going to call that a centering breath. We are present in this now moment. For each and every moment becomes that now. With each thought you think, you've already passed what was behind it. Let us not go too far in the future, which might arise anxiety or even anticipation, but let's stay present, welcoming this energetic fold that we call God. This entity of energy that has its way in and through each one of us, for it can be no other way. We are that vehicle. We are that channel. We are one and of the same, for we say God is everywhere present. There's no place God is not. And in claiming that to be true, we are in that same beautiful substance, that life substance. We claim it here, we claim it now, and we are so grateful. Amen. Boy, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry with that. Wow, it just shows you how incredibly sacred life is. And that oftentimes we truly believe we can say it tomorrow, or we can do whatever is calling us to do tomorrow. Some of you might know that my daughter's been hanging out in Buenos Aires for like 6 months. And she said she met an expat community, and a lot of them are in the retirement age, and it's a little less expensive in certain areas, and they're making that a choice for the retirement home. And they look at her, and she's in her mid-30s, and they say, girl, you like doing the world now. And I thought, wow, how many of us have thought, oh, I'll wait until I have enough money. I'll wait until I have that skill set. I'll wait until, and that until comes, and now your health isn't where it is that you're able to do that. Or something else blocks your way, and you've had this dream inside you that wanted to be birthed, but all of a sudden that obstacle has taken away that chance. I know yesterday when we were in our circle, And we were having fun, and you can just imagine a bunch of gals getting together and getting deep and talking about some real stuff. And then someone in our group got a phone call that was incredibly meaningful that she knew was coming. But it was a death of a very close friend. Take that chance. We don't know what's going to happen. We didn't know, some of us, 9/11. Some of us don't understand what's going on in Gaza right now. Take the chance. The people in your life that you care about, that you haven't reached out to for a while. Do you remember right after 9/11, the flags went all up on the bridges? How many people do we call? How many people do we reach out? The people we didn't even know next door, we took a chance. So that song, thank you. Thank you. It's not really where I was going to go today, but that's what opened up. And when Spirit says speak, I hope I got a channel, and we all know I got the voice, so it's going to come on through. But I do want to recognize, in a playful kind of spirit, I was watching an interview between Jelly Roll. Are y'all familiar? The new big country music star with the tattoos all draped down his face that he said, I wish I hadn't done it 18 years old, but here I am. And he had just won some of the major awards in country music. And Gayle King says to him, I know you were shaking. And he goes, I know. I was shaking. I was so scared, but I felt that God was present with me at that very moment. I was feeling God. And she looked at him and she said, so what is your message? And he has this affinity towards juvenile detention centers. And he says, I want each one of these people to know where you were is not who you're becoming. We have the chance to change what has happened in our past. Any and every person here who's had a long-held belief system, and most of us it was implanted at childhood, possibly your family of origin, could have been your church of origin, teaching, culture, society. Well, we're now a little more evolved, I hope. And when these things come up in front of us that 15, 20, 30 years ago we would have shot down because of our belief system, we now have an opportunity to revisit. Is it what you believe today? Can today start right now in this present moment? Some jewels that we bring forward from our ancestors are jewels, and some of them are way outdated. They're not conducive to a land of opportunity, of equitable choices. They're not conducive for people to really stand up and be exactly who we say in unity we came here to be. So what is our role as their friend, as their alliance, as the people are beginning to explore what is true for me and how can I support you in this greater mission? I think this is a lot of what Wayne Dyer is talking to us about when he gets right down and dirty about his ideas of excuses. And one of the things he says, when we're looking at our excuses, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 from his 17. And one of them is, I try. I really try, but nothing seems to work out for me. When I hear that, anybody else grow up with Winnie the Pooh? I see Eeyore. Oh, life is so hard. Well, if you believe life is hard, guess what the universe says? Life is hard. I'm going to give you some more of that. I also look at the word try. The word try implies failure. So I was playing with this in my mind because I have to relate myself. If you try to eat an ice cream cone, you either ate it or you didn't. There's no try about it. It either made it sloppy down your face and it was good, or it fell on the ground. You either got it or you didn't. One of the other examples. Oh, I tried to ride a bike. Well, you either rode the bike or you didn't. Where's the try part? And then if you tried and you failed, and so many of us are afraid to fail, these incredible basketball players that we all know failed again and again and again and picked themselves up. I have a cousin who has been thrown or fallen from her horse, broken her back twice, And she gets right back up on that horse because she loves that horse. She loves that feeling of freedom. If we're here to fail and try again, up and down, maybe that's where the life lesson comes in. If everything was so easy, how many people have like a flatline life? Like that's just all it is. Like I know everything every day and it's all just fine. I'll call you out. I tend to have this roller coaster one, and maybe it's softening a little bit from my early teenage years when if you told me no, I was so going to do it. You told me be in at a certain time, well, you left a nasty note on my pillow. I'm going back out. I'm already in trouble. Any of you who have teenagers, don't listen. But we find our way. We find our way. We rebel and we come back. We rebel, we come back. But we have to feel it. We have to go through the fullness of life, and nobody can do it for us. Nobody can learn our life lessons for us. So for those of us who think we've outsmarted the universe, when you don't get it, what happens? You're going to get it again until you get what you came here to learn. So the second one that Wayne Dyer talks about, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I don't want to say that too loud. The universe might hear me. Wayne Dyer is pretty hard on this one. He says, I call this belief lame and a cop-out. You originated in a world of abundance which you have the ability to access all time, all around us. If you are in this thought mode, he says, replace it with gratitude. Say things in your mind about what you do have, because what we put our thoughts towards grows more of. So if I were to say, I am grateful for my friends, guess what's going to happen? More opportunities for more friends. I am grateful for this house, and I know there'll be a pool coming. Just kidding. I'm grateful for where I live in a safe neighborhood. I'm grateful for where I live where the deer come and literally sleep in my front yard. What are the things in your life that you are grateful for that the universe says, I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to give it in abundance. I'm going to give it in abundance. So turn that lack of abundance into your gratitude, so we're focusing on what we do have. Now here's the one that really hit me, because I know I've said it, and probably to many of you out here, I am too busy. I am too busy. Now, Wayne Dyer calls me out on mine stuff too, because you know whatever I'm learning and bringing to you, I'm learning it first. If you are overextended, he says, know that you've chosen to be in this position. Oh my God, do we now have to be self-responsible? Please. We had some lesson about the devil made me do it. Well, let me just clue you in. Unity doesn't believe in the devil. What we create, we are responsible for. So if my schedule is too busy, there might be a really deep, what am I avoiding? Yeah? So if I'm creating a life that is full, what am I not taking the time to look at? He said, consider the following when you're too busy. I'm allowed to say no to requests that keep me from having time to pursue my life purpose. Now, I know everyone in here thinks a minister just comes to church on Sunday morning, right? This is all I do, this hour and a half, and that's all I do all week long. But sometimes it feels so thick and so busy with the administrative stuff that I went to one of my mentors. I said, I love creating workshops. I love teaching. I can even do Sunday morning pretty well. But this administrative crap, come on. I need a break. He said, focus on what you like on your life's purpose. I said, well, honey, that's workshops. What we did yesterday, downloaded in one afternoon. I couldn't leave the computer, had to stay right there, went on Amazon, ordered all the little trinkets, and I just went into this place of bliss. When we did that whole workshop yesterday and I got to play with these lovely 9 ladies, I was in my bliss. When we do what we love, we are no longer working. Right. So that helps with all the telephones and bills and all the other parts. and the raccoon that gets in the trash can. So Wayne Dyer also says there's no right way to do anything. No right way to do anything. So that reminds me we have choice. And if you don't like the way you're doing it, do it some other way. And if I were really good, I'd delegate. Y'all start doing stuff. I can have it my way because there are no absolute universal rules. I can have it my way because there are no absolute universal rules. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. And then I looked at that and thought, for number 4, this is Reverend Tracey Quillen's number 4. No is a complete sentence. Now, how many people in here don't want to hurt anyone's feelings? And how many people have expectations of themselves in the role they play? How many of us came from corporate jobs with a whole lot of staff and a whole lot of accountability, and that was tied directly to salary and promotions? I'm just going to tell you, once you're a minister, I don't know where else I get to go from here. Where do you get to go from here? If you look at somebody and, you might even be interested in what they're talking about. And when are you going to stay on purpose for your life's purpose? No is a complete sentence. Let your no's be no, and your yeses be yes. That for me is probably one of the hardest things that he called us out on in these 17 excuses. But in being honest with yourself and authentic, then we are empowered excuses no more. We are empowered to do the things that we are called to do. And we don't have guilt or shame or blame around them. We step boldly into our purpose. So then Wayne Dyer, he's going to chase us from the excuses and give us some principles that we might live by. And the first one is to be aware. He says, be aware that you are aware. I'm like, dude. So does that sound crazy? Be aware that you are aware. And then I thought, when I go to Publix and I get in my car, that car knows how to get there because I have no clue by the time I've arrived what I did. How blinded are we to everyday occurrences? When I had the goddess group and I said for the 2 weeks before, I want you to really pay attention to things that you would do every single day that you don't notice, and behold the gift in what you're doing. Now, specifically, I was thinking, y'all know I have a Great Pyrenees, and he just has got to tell the entire world that he is protecting my universe. And he runs out that back door, and he chases all through the yard, and this bird went up from some little bushy tree thing, and he thought that was all about him. And I watched it happen for like 3 days. And then I said, stop. Why do you think that bird is trying to lead him away from the tree? Well, she has a nest. And I peeked in the little greenery, and the little tiny nest was perfect, and these 2 little eggs. So it wasn't about her entertaining my dog, go figure, but it was about her protecting her nest and taking his attention away. He wasn't going to figure it out, but she didn't know that. And my gift was to stop and notice something that happens every day that I had not paid attention to. Is that true in your life? Is there something that you do on a pretty regular basis, like eating that bowl of cereal and those blueberries every morning? And if you're like me in the evenings, I pile up in front of a mindless TV show, and I wolf down whatever I made, and it's usually pretty spicy because I like spice. But I don't pay attention to what I'm eating. So this is where Wayne Dyer is saying, be aware of being aware. Be alert, be awake, pay attention. And I shared with you that as I was reviewing this talk this morning, Louise Hay dropped in. I said, all right, lady, tell me what you want me to say. And I love master teachers bring in principles of truth. And she says, awareness is the first step in healing or changing. He just said the same thing. Love it. When we have some pattern buried deeply within us, we must become aware of it in order to heal the condition. Perhaps we begin to mention the condition, to complain about it, or to see it in other people. It rises to the surface of our attention in some way, and we begin to relate to it. We often attract a teacher, a friend, a class, a workshop, a book to ourselves that begins to awaken new ways to approach the problem. We have a new opportunity of changing our belief system that has been there forever and ever, and now there is scientific proof. It's generations. Generations. Many of us have heard today about alcoholism flying through the families. It's not just you took too many drinks this lifetime. We have conversations, and science is beginning to prove it backs up into our ancestry. So what about our cellular thoughts? What about those people who feel that they are not enough because their grandmother was told that and her grandmother was told that? Where did that start? What about the people who came to this country of different colors? When they said this country was built on slavery, and then the people who were of the white race talked down and said they're not even physically of our sameness, then all of a sudden the world pushed this group away. And they've been fighting ever since. So I'm looking at this with Louise Hay, and she says, often our reaction to the first stage, what was the first stage? Awareness. To this stage is to think the approach is silly or that it doesn't make sense. Perhaps it seems too easy or unacceptable to change our thinking. We just don't want to do it. Our resistance comes up very strong, and we may even feel angry. And she says, such a reaction is good. When you're going through life and everything's kind of like this, do you make changes? Not typically, because it's working for you. When something stands up in front of your face and causes you to have a reaction, now you have an opportunity to look at it. She says, I tell people that any reaction they may feel is there to show them they are already in the process of healing, even though total healing is not yet completed. The truth is that process begins the moment we begin to think about making a change. So how do we know we're going to make a change if we don't have an awareness around it? And I thought, wow, I love these sages because it's not comfortable to be uncomfortable. What does our ego want to do? It wants to stay in the status quo. It wants to stay, our ego is here to protect us, right? The ego is saying, you know, this is okay. We've worked really hard. We're safe right here. We know what we know. And then there's that element of awareness that says, what don't I know? How can I be a better individual? Where is my soul's evolution? And then Wayne Dyer brings a second principle in, and he says alignment. And I thought, all right, let's just play with that word for a minute. My first example of alignment, and I talked to somebody in our congregation today. I'm not going to say it's just women who do this, but we do this. You turn that car on that round, whatever it is, and you hit that curb. And all of a sudden, your car no longer goes straight, does it? You're out of alignment. So Wayne Dyer says, excuses are out of alignment with integrity of who we are. Ooh, how does that feel? And if we're out of alignment, how do we get back into alignment? And I would say, listen to source. You know what you need to do to get back into alignment. And if you do not, take that time out in meditation. If we have a car, where do we go? We usually go to like the garage, and they got to put it back in alignment. Charge you a couple $100. Maybe we can take responsibility for our own actions and claim what is ours to claim and watch that universal flow come rushing in to support us. Now that same energy, if you want to sit on the couch and do nothing, says, okay, we'll sit on the couch and do nothing. But if you want to move into action, if you're ready to change something in your life, a belief system, a way of doing things, if you're ready to be that vibrant, alive soul, the universe is going to provide you opportunities. The right people are in your pathway. The right connections are in your pathway. The right opportunities are going to open the door because you've claimed it. And I love when Wayne Dyer, he said, not only do you claim it and he believes it to be true, he says it's our birthright. We've heard that one again and again. He says, "It is my contention that the universe not only will, but must provide you with what you conceive of. By staying focused on what I intend to create, by believing the universe is all providing." Now, these are some big things. You got to believe it. It's nice to have words, but if you don't believe it, your energy is going to go with what you do believe. By staying focused on what I intend to create, by believing the universe is all providing, and knowing that I'm worthy of this unlimited supply, I just keep attracting more prosperity to me. So for you, what is your prosperity? For some of us, it's feeling good all the time. Those joints work when we come up the stairs. There's no headaches. We're free to breathe fully with ease and grace. For some of us, we'd like to have a little extra change in our pockets. If we want to take that trip, we want to be able to do it. In January, I went on that cruise. There's no secret about that cruise. Those speakers, they gathered 10 people, so they got a free trip. You can make things happen. Be creative. He says, and by being unattached to what shows up, which means I have no desire for more and more, I'm able to let it go easily. And I'm like, so what does he mean by that? And he says, do you think God energy runs out? Do you think God energy runs out? Is there a limited supply of God? Only what we think. Stay in a state of gratitude rather than asking for more, which implies shortage and creates a vibrational match to more shortage. Focus on what you already have. Be thankful for everything that has shown up in your life. So instead of, oh, it can't, it won't, say it will, it must. It arrives right on schedule in divine timing. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Louise Hayes to close this out. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I see any resistance patterns within me only as something to release. They have no power over me. I am the power in my world. I am the power in my mind. I flow with the changes taking place in my life as best I can. I approve of myself and the way I am changing. I am doing the best I can. Each day gets easier. I rejoice that I am in the rhythm and flow of my ever-changing life. How would that feel? Instead of that resistance, I'm in the river and flow, the ebb and flow with grace, with everything changing in my life, because you know it's going to change, right? Today is a wonderful day. I choose to make it so, and all is well in my world. Amen.